Imagine you're driving alone on a desert highway in the Four Corners region. It's past midnight. Your headlights cut through the darkness, illuminating nothing but empty road and scrubland. Then you see a figure standing on the side of the road. As you get closer, your blood runs cold. It's moving on all fours, but it's not an animal. The limbs are too long, the movements too deliberate, and then it looks at you. Its eyes catch your headlights, reflecting back an unnatural glow. In that split second, you realize it's wearing something fur, maybe, but underneath, you can make out a humanoid form. Before you can process what you're seeing, it lunges toward your vehicle with impossible speed. You floor the accelerator, but in your rearview mirror, you swear you see it keeping pace, running at 70 miles per hour on all fours. Welcome to the world of the Skinwalker, the Navajo legend that has terrified the American Southwest for centuries and continues to haunt the modern imagination. Today, we're diving deep into one of North America's most disturbing cryptid legends. But here's what makes the Skinwalker different from Bigfoot, Mothman, or the Jersey Devil. This isn't just a monster story. For the Navajo people, Skinwalkers are real. They're not mythological creatures from ancient times. They are believed to be actual humans who have chosen to embrace dark magic and transform themselves into animals. And unlike most cryptid encounters that are laughed off or dismissed, mention a Skinwalker on a Navajo reservation and watch the atmosphere change. People will stop talking. They'll tell you it's bad luck to even speak about them. Some will refuse to discuss it at all. So what exactly are Skinwalkers? Where did this legend come from? And why do so many people claim to have encountered them? Over the next 20 minutes, we're going to explore the origins, the alleged encounters, and the cultural significance of one of America's darkest legends. To understand Skinwalkers, we need to understand their place in Navajo culture. In the Navajo language, a Skinwalker is called a Yi-Nald-Lushi, which translates roughly to by means of it. It goes on all fours, or he who walks on all fours. According to Navajo tradition, Skinwalkers are evil witches who have gained supernatural power by breaking a deeply sacred cultural taboo, usually by killing a close family member. This act of ultimate betrayal allows them to gain dark magical abilities, including the power to shapeshift into animals. But they don't just transform into animals spiritually or metaphorically. They literally wear the pelts of animals, wolves, coyotes, foxes, eagles, owls, or crows, and take on their physical form. Once they've made this transformation, Skinwalkers gain terrifying abilities. They can run at supernatural speeds. Some accounts claim they can keep pace with moving vehicles, traveling at highway speeds. They can jump incredible distances. They possess strength far beyond normal humans. And perhaps most disturbingly, they can mimic human voices with perfect accuracy, calling out in the voices of loved ones to lure victims to their doom. But it gets worse. Skinwalkers are said to have the ability to read thoughts, curse people from a distance, and even possess living animals or people. Some traditions claim they can lock eyes with you and take control of your body. Others say that merely making eye contact allows them to absorb your skin and take on your appearance. Why would someone become a Skinwalker? The motivations vary, but they're always rooted in evil. Some seek power and wealth, others want revenge. Some are said to be initiated into secret, which societies where becoming a Skinwalker is a requirement for membership. The Navajo people take this so seriously that traditionally, Skinwalkers were hunted down and killed if discovered. Even today, witchcraft is taken very seriously in Navajo culture. If you've ever tried to ask a Navajo person about Skinwalkers, you've probably noticed something. They don't want to talk about it. This isn't just cultural politeness or trying to keep outsiders from knowing their secrets. There's a genuine belief that talking about Skinwalkers can attract their attention. Think of it like saying Bloody Mary 3 times in a mirror, except people actually believe this. Speaking about Skinwalkers, especially at night, is thought to draw them near. Some believe that even thinking about them too much can make you a target. This creates a catch-22 for researchers. The people who know the most about Skinwalkers are the most reluctant to discuss them. This cultural taboo has actually helped preserve the mystery and terror surrounding Skinwalkers, unlike other cryptids that have been diluted by countless retellings and pop culture adaptations. The Skinwalker legend retains its power, partly because those who believe in it most strongly refuse to discuss it casually. Now let's get into the stories that have kept people awake at night. These accounts come from across the Four Corners region, and while skeptics might dismiss them, the people who experience them remain genuinely traumatized. One of the most commonly reported Skinwalker encounters happens on isolated roads. A witness I'll call Sarah was driving back to her home on the Navajo reservation late one night in the 1990s. She noticed what she thought was a large dog running alongside her car. But as she slowed down, she realized it was keeping perfect pace with her vehicle. When she accelerated to 45 miles per hour, it matched her speed effortlessly. That's when she got a good look at it in her headlights. It was covered in matted fur, running on all fours, but its proportions were all wrong. The arms and legs were too long for any natural animal, and then it turned its head to look at her. She described the face as almost human but stretched and distorted, with eyes that reflected her headlights like an animal's. She floored the gas pedal, reaching 65 miles per hour, and it stayed alongside her car for another mile before veering off into the darkness. Another classic encounter involves skinwalkers peering into windows. A family living on the reservation reported being terrorized for weeks by something that would scratch at their windows at night and make animal sounds mixed with human speech. One night, the father looked out the window and came face to face with what he described as a massive wolf, standing upright on its hind legs, its front paws pressed against the glass. But the eyes, he said, were completely human, intelligent and malicious. The creature spoke to him in his deceased father's voice, asking to be let inside. The family ended up moving away and refused to return to that house. The mimic. Perhaps the most disturbing accounts involve skinwalkers mimicking human voices. One man reported being called by his wife from outside their home. He could hear her voice clearly, calling his name and asking him to come help her. Something felt wrong, though she sounded oddly flat, emotionless. He grabbed his rifle and stepped outside to find his wife standing in the doorway behind him, terrified. She'd been inside the whole time. Whatever was calling to him in her voice was somewhere out in the darkness beyond his porch light. A ranch hand working on the edge of the Navajo reservation told a story about encountering a coyote that behaved impossibly. It stood watching him from about 50 feet away, completely unafraid. When he threw a rock at it, the coyote didn't flinch. It just kept staring. Then, it stood up on its hind legs, fully upright like a human, and walked backward into the brush while maintaining eye contact the entire time. He quit his job the next day. No discussion of skinwalkers would be complete without mentioning Skinwalker Ranch, also known as Sherman Ranch, located in Utah near the Navajo reservation. This property has become synonymous with paranormal activity and has been the subject of books, documentaries, and even a History Channel series. The ranch's notoriety began in the 1990s when the Sherman family purchased the property. They immediately began experiencing bizarre phenomena, cattle mutilations, UFO sightings, strange creatures that seemed impervious to bullets, and poltergeist-like activity in their home. They reported seeing a massive wolf that attacked their livestock but showed no fear of humans and couldn't be killed even when shot at close range with a rifle. The family also described seeing balls of light, portals or doorways opening in mid-air, and creatures that defied classification. After less than 2 years of escalating weirdness and terror, the Shermans sold the property. The ranch was then purchased by billionaire Robert Bigelow, who founded the National Institute for Discovery Science to study the phenomena. Scientists and researchers descended on the property, installing surveillance equipment and conducting investigations. While they documented strange electromagnetic anomalies and had their own unsettling experiences, they struggled to capture definitive proof of anything supernatural. The ranch has since changed hands again and remains a subject of intense interest in paranormal circles. Skeptics argue that the stories have been exaggerated for profit, while believers point to the sheer number of witnesses and the consistency of reports across decades. What's interesting is that the Navajo people have their own explanation. The area has always been considered cursed, a place where the boundary between worlds is thin and where dark magic thrives. To them, it's not surprising at all that such a place would be a hotbed of skinwalker activity. Of course, not everyone believes in skinwalkers as literal shape-shifting witches. So what are the alternative explanations? Misidentification. Many alleged skinwalker sightings could be cases of misidentified animals. Bears, especially when standing upright, can look disturbingly human-like. Diseased or injured animals might move in unusual ways. In low light conditions, people's brains often fill in missing details, turning an ordinary coyote into something monstrous. Sleep paralysis and hallucinations. Some window-watching encounters might be explained by sleep paralysis. a condition where people wake up unable to move and often hallucinate threatening figures. Desert environments can also cause heat-induced hallucinations. Cultural hysteria. Skeptics suggest that the fear of skinwalkers creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you're told from childhood that shape-shifting witches are real and hunting at night, any unusual experience becomes filtered through that lens. A strange sound becomes a skinwalker call. An odd-acting animal becomes a witch in disguise. Psychological projection. Some psychologists argue that skinwalkers serve a social function in Navajo culture, providing an explanation for misfortune and a way to enforce social norms. The ultimate taboo breaker becomes the ultimate monster. But here's the thing, these explanations don't satisfy everyone, especially those who've had encounters. They'll tell you that what they experienced wasn't a bear or a hallucination. They know the difference between a coyote acting strangely and something fundamentally wrong with reality. Modern sightings and internet era, 16 o'clock to 1730, in the age of smartphones and social media, you might expect skinwalker sightings to decrease or for someone to finally capture definitive proof. Instead, reports have actually increased, spreading beyond the Navajo reservation into popular culture. Social media platforms are filled with alleged skinwalker footage, strange figures caught on trail cameras, animals behaving impossibly, eerie sounds recorded in the night. Of course, the authenticity of these videos is highly questionable. With modern video editing software, creating a convincing fake is easier than ever. But what's interesting is how the legend has evolved. People from all over the United States now report skinwalker encounters, often in areas with no connection to Navajo culture. This dilution of the legend troubles some Navajo people, who see it as cultural appropriation and a misunderstanding of something deeply serious to them. The internet has also allowed for more witness testimony to be shared and compared. Patterns have emerged. Encounters typically happen at night, often on or near Native American land, frequently involving vehicles or isolated homes. Witnesses consistently describe a feeling of profound wrongness, not just fear of an animal, but a soul-deep recognition that they are in the presence of something evil. Cultural sensitivity and respect, 1730 to 1830. Before we conclude, it's important to address the cultural sensitivity around this topic. For the Navajo people and other Native American tribes, skinwalkers aren't entertainment. They're not fun campfire stories or Halloween costumes. They represent real evil, real threats, and real cultural trauma. When outsiders treat skinwalkers as just another cryptid or horror movie monster, it can be deeply offensive. Imagine if something from your own culture that you consider genuinely dangerous and sacred was turned into a meme or a tourist attraction. That's how many Navajo people feel about the popularization of skinwalker stories. If you're interested in this topic, approach it with respect. Don't go to Navajo reservations asking about skinwalkers or trying to hunt them. Don't appropriate the imagery for costumes or jokes. And understand that when someone from this culture refuses to discuss it, they're not being secretive for effect. They're following deeply held beliefs about safety and respect. The legend of the skinwalker belongs to the Navajo people and the surrounding tribes. We can learn about it and be fascinated by it, but we should never claim to fully understand or own it. Conclusion, 1830 to 20 o'clock. So what's the truth about skinwalkers? Are they real shape-shifting witches prowling the American Southwest? Misidentified animals and cultural legends? Or something else entirely, something we don't yet have the framework to understand? The answer probably depends on your worldview. If you believe that the universe is purely material and that everything can be explained by science, then skinwalkers are folklore, psychological phenomena, and misidentification. Case closed. But if you're open to the possibility that there are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in our philosophy, then maybe, just maybe, there's something to these stories. Maybe in the vast empty deserts of the American Southwest, where the night sky stretches forever and the land remembers things we've forgotten, there really are beings that defy our understanding of reality. What we can say for certain is that the skinwalker legend persists because it taps into primal fears. The fear of predators, the fear of the dark, the fear that humans can choose to become monsters, and the fear that we're not at the top of the food chain. Whether they're real or not, skinwalkers remind us that the world is bigger and stranger than we like to admit. For the Navajo people, this isn't a debate. Skinwalkers are real, they're dangerous, and they're best left alone. They'll tell you to stop talking about them, to stop thinking about them, and whatever you do, don't go looking for them. Because if you find a Skinwalker, or worse, if a Skinwalker finds you, we should never ask the question. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the strange and unexplained. And maybe, just maybe, keep your doors locked tonight, especially if you hear someone calling your name from outside. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and stay safe. Retriclord can make mistakes. Please double-check responses. Sonnet 4.5